Uh, that's tough to see. Well, thankfully, Meghan has now found the courage to talk about this on her podcast today.
Like I said, I was thankful for the job, but not for how it made me feel, which was not smart.
To climb up on to get to the top of the tree. And I've been fascinated to see the amount of branches that were built.
Before Meghan Markle even dreamed of palace gates or royal carriages, she was already mastering a different kind of power, the art of calculated networking. This wasn't about charm or talent, it was strategy, plain and simple.
And little substance. And that's how it felt for me at the time, being reduced to this specific archetype.
While other actresses were hustling for casting calls and praying for callbacks, Meghan was busy building a network sharper than a diamond ring. Every move, every smile, every connection, perfectly planned like a chess game where she always played queen. Forget tiaras and titles, those came later. Her real kingdom? Soho House, the ultra-exclusive playground where ambition and luxury shared the same drink.
It's something that I talked about with the great Megyn Kelly, the host of the Megyn Kelly Show. Find it on YouTube, SiriusXM podcast.
Behind those velvet doors, deals were whispered, reputations were built, and Meghan was right there in the middle of it, sipping champagne and reading every social cue like a script. And right beside her, the man who made it all possible, Markus Anderson, the insider with connections that could flip anyone's social status overnight.
Markus Anderson is very unique in the Meghan Markle Disposable Friends series because Markus is indispensable.
He wasn't just her friend, he was her ticket into the world of influence, the man who taught her that in high society, one right introduction can change everything. Let's break down who Markus Anderson really was, the man who went from serving drinks to serving secrets like a pro. Before Meghan Markle ever stepped into royal headlines, Markus was already crafting his own empire of influence.
Honestly, there is no end to this woman's deceptive nature, to her abject dishonesty. That's what we're seeing here. She does this podcast with Paris Hilton.
This wasn't your average waiter story. Oh no, he started at Soho House, London, not just pouring cocktails, but pouring pure charm into every glass, making people feel like being around him was a privilege. Markus had a gift that most dream of. He made powerful people need him. He wasn't chasing approval, he was quietly collecting leverage. Every celebrity handshake, every whispered rumor, every invitation to a private event. Markus knew exactly how to turn social currency into real power. So when Meghan entered the picture, it wasn't just friendship at first sight. It was strategy in motion. She saw his glow, his influence, his access, and she wanted in. Markus was the key, and Meghan knew exactly how to turn the lock.
She does this podcast with Paris Hilton on how, we've been labeled bimbos. It's so wrong. Meanwhile, Paris Hilton made millions of dollars off of that label, leaned into it robustly, which she discusses in the podcast.
Soon, she was no longer just another actress. She was flying on Soho House-funded business trips, clinking glasses with Hollywood executives, and brushing shoulders with the very people who could change her career overnight.
But Meghan Markle, you see, won't own it. Meghan Markle wants to complain about being objectified when she was suitcase girl number 24. Like she really thought somebody was going to talk to her about how...
Meghan didn't just meet Markus. She locked in. She saw an opening and played it like a master. He opened the doors, and she made sure she never left the room. This wasn't romance. This was a calculated alliance dressed up in luxury. Markus Anderson gave Meghan Markle something Hollywood had never handed her: instant credibility. Overnight, she wasn't just that actress from Suits anymore. She was the woman everyone suddenly wanted at their table, the one who could make any event feel exclusive just by showing up.
24 actually is the number of genomes in the measles sequence. She had no idea it was just going to be the number of the suitcase she was going to It's ridiculous.
And Markus, oh, he loved it. Even the puppet master likes a little spotlight now and then. If ambition had a face, it would be Meghan Markle. Sleek hair, designer bag, and Markus Anderson right there beside her, grinning like the man who made it all possible. Their friendship wasn't built on late-night laughs or heartfelt loyalty. It was built on cold, calculated leverage.
Without Markus Anderson, I hope to prove to you in this video that Meghan Markle wouldn't have the level of global fame that she enjoys now.
Markus had the names, the numbers, the invites. Meghan had the hunger, the charm, and the timing. Together, they were unstoppable. He introduced her to everyone who mattered: designers who shaped global trends, directors who decided careers, and philanthropists who moved in royal circles. Meghan didn't just appreciate it, she thrived on it. To her, Marcus wasn't just a friend.
What did she do? Did she run for Senate? Did she try to get a law degree? Did she go back to med school? No! Now she wants us to believe
He was a walking opportunity, a career move in a tailored suit. Every smile, every dinner, every handshake was another step up the ladder, and she climbed it like she was born to rule. He threw the parties, she worked the rooms. He opened the doors, she flashed that million-dollar smile. And just like that, Meghan Markle went from small-time TV hustler to mingling with the global elite.
Infamy depends how you look at it. But I really don't think she would be in the position she's in without Markus Anderson.
Every move was a performance, every laugh a calculated cue. Together, they were unstoppable. The perfect mix of charm and precision, ambition and access. But here's where things really start heating up. It was Markus Anderson who reportedly orchestrated that innocent little weekend getaway at Soho farmhouse. Yes?
why would she say that? I actually also posed for a saucy picture at one point in my life. I was 40, I was a news anchor, I was pregnant, I leaned.
The same private paradise where Meghan just happened to meet Prince Harry. Coincidence? Please. Marcus didn't deal in coincidences, he dealt in outcomes. He might not have worn a crown, but make no mistake, Marcus was a kingmaker.
She is embarrassed that she's vain and vapid, and that's why she can't just own those moments.
Every introduction, every photo op, every staged chance encounter fit into a much bigger plan. Meghan didn't put her faith in luck, she believed in logistics, and Marcus was her blueprint for success. He was her secret weapon in plain sight, working behind the scenes like a silent architect of her rise. And when Meghan finally landed her prince, something strange happened. Her old Hollywood friends started fading away, disappearing from her new royal world. But Marcus, oh no.
The thing is that because her ambition and her sense of self is that, I should be the senator, the president, she's trying to pretend that these things in her backstory.
He didn't flinch. While others stepped back, he stepped closer. And somehow, he managed to do what nobody else could. Stay right in Meghan's royal orbit without missing a single beat. He slipped past the palace gates like a ghost. No title, no royal blood, not even an official invitation.
That she had to overcome like poverty or dyslexia or something. It's like, no, BS. You went to an audition.
Yet somehow, Markus Anderson was everywhere. Pre-wedding parties, private getaways, secret dinners, you name it, he was there. Always in the background, always smiling like he knew something the rest of them didn't. To the palace staff, he wasn't just a guest. He was part of the furniture. Polished, permanent, impossible to ignore.
You said, I want to do this because it was fun to do. But instead she has to, in order to achieve her next goal.
Behind closed doors, insiders whispered a nickname that stuck, Meghan's Shadow. Because wherever Meghan appeared, Marcus followed close behind. He wasn't staff, yet he moved like one. He wasn't family, but he had access like he was born into it. And the strangest part? Nobody could quite figure out how he pulled it off.
He has to turn around and redefine her past. I think people would feel less angry, because I don't know if they'll ever feel positive about it, but less angry if she just turned around and said, sure, I look good, why wouldn't you move on?
The royals noticed, quietly, carefully, uncomfortably. Because Marcus didn't play the palace game. He didn't bow, didn't follow protocol, didn't care about hierarchy. He was a rule breaker in tailored suits, walking through royal halls like he belonged there. His loyalty was laser-focused, all in for Meghan. And that made the inner circle uneasy. Very uneasy. The kind of uneasy that keeps even the most powerful people watching their backs.
Intellectualize this garbage like she's trying to win over a bunch of morons at a dinner party. That must have been
100%.
terrible for you.
Right, to have been so objectified. She wants us now to believe that she was standing there waiting to be asked about Bashar al-Assad, and then she found out that 24 was actually the accumulation of everyone's IQ in the room. She knew.
Rumors started swirling faster than champagne bubbles at a royal gala. Whispers claimed that Markus Anderson still had his fingerprints all over Meghan's every move, even after she became the Duchess. Some even hinted he was still pulling the strings from the shadows, quietly shaping her image while the world thought she'd moved on. Because in royal circles, no one gets that close without a reason. And Marcus? Oh, he definitely had one. Then came the moment that sent palace insiders into absolute panic. It started as a tiny whisper. One anonymous source, reportedly close to Marcus, dropped a cryptic remark about his unbreakable bond with Meghan.
Now, Marcus started off at Soho House, London as a waiter, and he worked his way up. Now, this is an astounding story in itself. he worked his way up to global membership director.
That single phrase was enough to set off alarms across the kingdom. In the royal rumor mill, one whisper becomes a wildfire before breakfast. Within hours, tabloids went wild. Front-page chaos. Headlines screamed that Markus Anderson, Meghan's so-called best friend, had finally spilled royal secrets.
And he was a global membership director when he first met Meghan. Now, his job was to go to a new city wherever they were opening up a new Soho house.
Suddenly, every old photo, every luxury trip, every cozy dinner between them was being dissected like evidence in a scandal case. The palace freaked out, PR teams hit panic mode, phones buzzed nonstop, and editors were quietly told to pull stories before things exploded even further.
And his job was to find the best and the brightest of that city to invite to the founding members' party. And they didn't just invite anybody.
For Meghan, who was already battling a brutal press storm, this was the nightmare she didn't see coming. Because this time, the chaos wasn't from the tabloids or the public. It came straight from within her own circle. Markus stayed silent. Not a denial, not a word, not even a hint of clarification. Just pure, calculated silence.
In the social scene of the city where they were opening up. Now, it always worried me that all of the biographers that have done books on Meghan Markle, and also a lot of people that have done interviews and magazine articles.
And of course, that only made everything spiral even faster. The world started asking the questions Meghan feared most. What did Markus really know? What had he seen behind those royal doors? What could he reveal if he ever decided to talk? Insiders say Meghan was furious. They described it as a betrayal that cut deeper than anything she'd faced in Hollywood.
Sort of imply that just because she was in Suits, that was how she met Markus Anderson in Canada.
This wasn't just a friend going quiet. This was the man who helped build her image, now turning into her biggest threat. The ultimate royal irony. The same person who once made her untouchable had suddenly become the one who could break the illusion completely. And that silence? Oh, it screamed louder than any tabloid headline ever could. When the so-called Markus leak hit the press, Buckingham Palace practically went into meltdown mode. You could almost hear the sound of pearls clattering from London to Los Angeles.
That always worried me because I knew that in those early seasons of Suits, they pretty much weren't on the map with many people. And I couldn't see that Markus Anderson would necessarily meet her.
Behind those stone walls, panic erupted. Aides rushing through corridors, phones ringing nonstop, PR teams scrambling like their lives depended on it. The palace called it containment mode. Translation? Absolute panic. Every department wanted answers. Who talked? Who leaked? Who was feeding information to the press? And the biggest question of all, what else was Markus Anderson sitting on?
And I doubted that she would have the cachet to be at the opening night party. But these were just all my own ideas, and I couldn't really prove anything, but it niggled at me.
Because if this man ever opened his mouth completely, it wouldn't just shake the palace, it would leave the royal image polished down to dust. Meanwhile, Meghan's team went into full crisis mode. PR statements started popping up left and right.
And so I went for a bit of a deep dive, and I found the Toronto Life social pages.
Carefully worded lines about loyalty, misunderstandings, and private friendships that were totally taken out of context. But it was already too late. The world had its headline locked in. Meghan Markle betrayed by her closest friend. That single phrase was all the media needed to spin the story into chaos. And Markus? He disappeared. No tweets, no sightings, no interviews.
And so I went for a bit of a deep dive, and I found the Toronto Life social pages. And they reported on the opening night of the Toronto Soho House. And it was very interesting to see who they mentioned in that column.
Nothing. The man who once couldn't enter a party without flashbulbs exploding suddenly turned invisible. 1 minute, he was everywhere. The next, he was a ghost haunting the background of Meghan's story. But that silence? It was deafening and dangerous. Because in royal circles, silence doesn't mean innocence. It means you're sitting on something powerful. It means you're holding the receipts no one wants to see. The palace was desperate to bury the story. Meghan wanted it wiped from memory, but the tabloids, they smelled blood.
Now, I would assume that if the cast from Suits were invited to that opening night founding members party, which is that is the party.
And once they get a taste of scandal, they never let go. In the aftermath, Markus Anderson's name became radioactive. Nobody dared to say it publicly, but behind closed doors, whispers spread like wildfire. The man who once opened every door in London had suddenly become the secret everyone was too afraid to mention. Because here's the real truth. Markus had seen it all.
That you want to get into if you're going to ever be anybody. If you're not in that opening night party, then pretty much anyone who's a founding member probably wouldn't bother.
The private dinners, the whispered arguments, the frantic late-night phone calls when the pressure hit too hard. He knew what Meghan said when the cameras stopped rolling, and exactly what she thought about her new royal in-laws when the microphones weren't listening. And that, right there, terrified everyone. Markus wasn't just a friend, he was an eyewitness to the unfiltered version of Meghan Markle. Then the photos started resurfacing.
When I read this article, I'll read to you who attended that opening night party. Now, members from other Soho houses came in, huge stars.
Those old shots of Markus and Meghan laughing at parties, traveling together, leaning in close to whisper secrets no one else could hear. The tabloids pounced, twisting every image into something darker, proof of conspiracy, manipulation, even betrayal. Suddenly, Meghan was painted as the mastermind, and Markus, her silent accomplice in designer suits. Inside the palace walls, there was no talk of friendship anymore, only threat assessment. Every connection between Meghan and Markus became a potential liability.
Keira Knightley, Jude Law, Bruce Willis, Amy Adams, Bradley Cooper, Dustin Hoffman, Naomi Watts, Zac Efron, and Jennifer Lawrence.
Whispers spread that royal aides had quietly tried to warn her, urging Meghan to keep her distance. But when private details began mysteriously leaking into the press, things only Markus could have known, panic set in. The royals didn't just see Markus as trouble, they saw him as a ticking time bomb dressed in luxury.
Now, as far as the Toronto social set goes, there weren't a lot of people that really were named in this article other than Jessica and Ben Mulroney.
Markus never defended himself, and honestly, he didn't need to. His silence was the defense, because when someone that close to the royal inner circle suddenly goes quiet, it doesn't calm anyone down. It makes everyone nervous. That quiet? It spoke volumes. It hinted at secrets too big to say out loud. For Meghan, it was a full-blown nightmare.
And Corey Vitiello. Now, Corey Vitiello hasn't really featured with many people. He gets mentioned.
One wrong word from Markus, and her carefully built royal fairy tale could crumble faster than a staged photo op gone wrong. But Markus stayed silent for years, and that silence only pulled the world in closer. Everyone waiting, watching, wondering. When would he finally speak? Then, out of nowhere, Markus Anderson reappeared. No flashy book deal, no explosive documentary, just a calm private confession at an elite event that somehow, mysteriously, leaked online. His tone was cool, almost too controlled. Royal watchers said it best.
Harry thinks he's a working member of the royal family, and we all think, what planet are this ever more weird duo on? The answer, of course, is planet Sussex, where goodness knows anything goes.
He didn't call Meghan out, but he definitely didn't protect her either. All he said was, the truth people believe isn't always the truth that happened, and that one line sent shockwaves through every royal corridor. Translation? He knows things, deep things, and he knows that we know he knows. And that's what makes Markus Anderson more dangerous silent than anyone else is speaking. He described Meghan as deeply misunderstood and fiercely determined, which in PR language basically means, she's a handful, but I'm not saying it out loud. It wasn't a full-on betrayal, but it wasn't loyalty either. It was that perfectly crafted middle ground that keeps everyone guessing. The kind of vague statement that does more damage than denial ever could. Inside the palace, tempers flared.
And her harebrained husband still seems to believe nothing has changed since he swapped his important regal duties for an empty new life of nothingness on the faraway West Coast.
Royal insiders were fuming, calling it strategic damage control in its finest form. Meghan's critics labeled it a soft confession, while Meghan herself was reportedly livid because Markus didn't deny anything. He didn't clear her name, he didn't defend her. He just added another cloud of mystery to a fire that never stopped burning. For years, people called Markus discreet.
As he fiercely fought the battle for newspaper column inches, Harry firmly denied that he was trying to overshadow his big brother, insisting the strategic Canada disclosure was nothing to do.
After that night, they started calling him dangerous because he didn't spill the tea, he stirred it. That quiet, measured half-confession changed everything. It reignited the rumors, reopened old wounds, and reminded the world that Markus Anderson still held cards no one else had seen. After the dust settled, Meghan's once glamorous circle of influencers, stylists, and social climbers shrank fast. Trust became her most expensive luxury, and she couldn't afford it anymore. Everyone was a potential leak, a ticking headline waiting to drop. And Markus? He vanished again, slipping right back into the shadows, his favorite place, apparently. Watching the empire he helped build start to crack, one silent move at a time. No more red carpets.
Yeah, right. The Seething Spares team maintained the timing clash was because the Dim Duke, and I quote, is not afforded the same level of security as other.
No secret getaways. No cozy public appearances. Markus was just gone, vanished like he'd never existed. The tabloids eventually moved on to their next obsession, but the scars from that storm never faded. Meghan was left with a label she couldn't shake. Ambitious, manipulative, impossible to satisfy. Every cruel word the press could dig up stuck to her name like glue. And Markus, he became the ghost haunting her story, the man who could have shattered her entire image with one interview.
But he's not a working member of the royal family, is he? Therefore, Harry's excuse went on, it means that the period of time in which we can release details of events is more truncated.
But never did. Some people called that loyalty. Others called it survival. Because, let's be real, Markus knew that saying too much could blow up his world too. In their world of luxury and lies, silence was the only currency that still held value. For both of them, it was the brutal price of ambition. The higher they climbed, the thinner the air, and the fewer friends who could breathe beside them.
If you believe that, I've got some swampland to sell you in Florida. In other news, Harry has written an essay, all by himself.
Once upon a time, they were unstoppable, the dazzling power duo who played high society like a game of chess and always won. Now, they're just two cautionary tales from the same glittering disaster. Two ghosts of their own making. In the end, Meghan and Markus's story doesn't sound like a friendship at all. It sounds like a royal ghost story that refuses to rest. He was there before the tiaras, before the royal headlines, before the scandals that would change everything. Markus saw Meghan Markle long before the world did. The ambitious actress with a flawless smile and a plan sharper than any diamond.
Is called The Bond, the Banter, the Bravery, what it means to be British. Behind the gilded gates of the Montecito Palace in the Californian sun he shares with his Tinseltown wife.
He watched her rise from late-night auditions to palace gates, and in that climb, he watched her slowly lose the parts of herself that once felt real. Markus never wrote a tell-all. He never sold his story or cashed in on the chaos, but he didn't need to. His silence said it all. That quiet was a message, a warning, a mirror reflecting what happens when ambition burns too hot and consumes everything in its path. Meghan wanted power, Markus wanted access, and together they built an empire made of charm, control, and illusion. For a while, it worked, until it didn't.
Well, maybe. Recalling the glory days when he served his country, his 647-word opus is called The Bond, the Banter, the Bravery.
When the empire cracked, both were left standing in the ruins, pretending they didn't see the wreckage behind them. Maybe Markus kept her secrets out of loyalty. Maybe he's just waiting for the right moment, or the right offer. Either way, one thing remains undeniable. The world will never stop wondering what really happened between Meghan Markle and Markus Anderson. Because in Meghan Markle's world, every friendship comes with an expiration date, and every ally eventually turns into a headline.
Yeah, so she's gonna be in the movies again. She's gonna star in a big...
Markus Anderson might have walked away quietly, but the shadow he left behind still follows the Duchess everywhere she goes, like a reminder that in her world, loyalty has a price and silence speaks louder than words. The question now isn't what happened between them. It's whether Meghan will ever escape the ghost of her past alliances. Because every time her name hits the headlines, that same shadow seems to rise again. What do you think? Was Markus her most loyal friend, or her quietest threat? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, because the next story might be even wilder than this one. See you in the next one.